This week on Premier Preps, we have a full episode dedicated strictly to the Sac-Joaquin Section Championship weekend at Sacramento City College. 4 of the 7 championship games, including Oak Ridge and Folsom, 12 Bridges and Patterson, Bradshaw Christian and Sonora, and Rocklin and Grant. Plus a recap from the rest of the finals weekend. You are watching Premier Preps. Welcome to a championship edition of Premier Preps. I'm your host, Nick Pecoraro. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving week. I am thankful for you for always tuning in for some high school sports coverage that you will only find here on Premier Preps. We are giving prep sports in Sacramento the coverage it deserves. Premier Preps is sponsored by Premier Championship Rings, and what a perfect time to check in with my friend Bob Sebring, who has worked with several schools around this time of year for more than 3 decades. He is your go-to guy for custom championship bling that tells the story of your team's journey towards section, regional, and state championships. Visit premiergradproducts.com, which also happens to be your source for all your graduation needs. That's premiergradproducts.com, and check out the Premier Championship Rings, the choice of champions. We start this weekend's coverage off with the Division I banger between Sierra Foothill League rivals Folsom and Oak Ridge. Folsom has been the top dog in this section for the better part of the past 15 years, winning 10 blue banners since 2010. Oak Ridge, meanwhile, is the only other D1 team to win a section crown since 2017, and this is the 3rd straight year that the Trojans have met the Bulldogs in the D1 final. Could this be the year that Oak Ridge shocks the world, or would Folsom capture its 4th straight championship? That game happening Saturday night at Hughes Stadium at Sacramento City College. Saturday night, and we in the spot. Don't believe me? Just watch. The main event for the entire Sac-Joaquin Section Championship weekend was the D1 final between Oak Ridge and Folsom for the 3rd straight year at Sac City College. Here we go. The Bulldogs land the first punch, as they so often do, with Ryder Lions taking in a short run to make it 7-0 midway through the first. But the Trojans prove that Lions is human. Jason Womack coming down with the INT, and that keeps it a 7-0 game at the end of 1. But the Bulldogs get the ball back in the second, and this time they give it to Carter Jackson. And nobody is catching that dude. He might be the fastest player in the section. Folsom goes up 14-0. More Bulldogs and more Jackson. Not only is he fast, but he is strong, telling a would-be tackler, "Get off me, son, you're too little." But the Trojans grew big and strong at the end of the drive. Dean Davis in on the stop for a turnover on downs, but nothing doing on Oak Ridge's possession, though, and Folsom gets the ball back. And Lions heaves it downfield to Isaiah Williams, and this Bulldog team just has so many different weapons. And they finish the drive with their big USC-bound tight end, Taniela Tupou, and it's 21-0 Bulldogs. How about some defense now? DB Cam Totten with an unbelievable interception to give the ball back to the Bulldogs. And then they go right back to old number 1, Carter Jackson, just plowing through defenders. Mr. Jackson, if you're nasty. Folsom leads 28-0 with a chance for more before halftime. But Oak Ridge finally gets a stop. Ash Andrade comes down with the pick, gets a nice return out of it all the way past midfield, but the Trojans have some work to do entering the 3rd. They're backed up in their own end zone. Joaquin Graves Mercado appears to try and flip it out of the back of the end zone and take the safety, but it's a fumble and a touchdown, Demetrion Brown. Everything going Folsom's way on Saturday. One thing going the Trojans' way was the big Alabama commit, Caleb Edwards, putting future SEC quarterbacks on notice. And in the 4th quarter, a thick blanket of fog just covered the entire field. But that didn't slow the Bulldogs down one bit. Joseph Ironman caps the scoring for Folsom, who wins in dominant fashion 41-0 and claims its 4th straight Sac-Joaquin Section title.
You know, just continuing to win games and level up every single week, it's a great thing for us. We've just got so much depth everywhere. Someone goes down, we got another player that can really play. Anyone can step up, and we're just prepared for anything that comes our way.
Come on, we get this shit going. Let's go!
You know that feeling when you win it all? When you become a champion. Now you can celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship rings. Bob Sebring has designed custom championship bling for more than 30 years and has been the trusted source for crafting priceless jewelry that tells the story of your team's championship journey. From football in the fall to baseball in the spring and everything in between, Premier Championship Rings has designed rings for dozens of local high school programs and even at the collegiate, pro, and youth levels as well. Whether it's a section, regional, or state title, Premier Championship Rings has you covered. So when your team wins the big game, you know what time it is. That's right, it's time to put a ring on it. Celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship Rings, the choice of champions. Championship weekend began Friday morning with this matchup, the Division 6 final between top-seeded Bradshaw Christian and third-seeded Sonora out of the TVL. Bradshaw beat Sonora in the closing moments of last year's semifinals before suffering heartbreak in the championship game against Houston. Both teams on a mission for redemption Friday morning in the D6 final. Time to lock in for the Division 6 final, kicking things off Friday between top-seeded Bradshaw Christian and third-seeded Sonora. Bradshaw knocked Sonora out of the semis in last year's playoffs. Here we go. First play of the game from scrimmage, Sonora quarterback Eli Ingalls takes it 49 yards on a QB keeper all the way down to the Bradshaw 10-yard line. And that sets up the first score of the game, the pitch to Cash Byington. That play is money, 7-0 Sonora right off the bat. What a start for the Wildcats. Bradshaw responds with their go-to guy, Mateo Mojica, just barreling into the end zone to knot things up at 7 apiece. Sonora goes back to work in the second quarter. This time the handoff goes to Brody Spear, who lives up to his name and just spearheads his defender to the ground. That run sets up a 21-yard field goal from Emmanuel Garibay, and the Wildcats take a 10-7 lead into the locker room. Bradshaw with the ball first to start the third quarter, but Ethan Rickard is picked off by Tanner Navarro, who doesn't need to make reservations for 6. He'll just get it with a walk-in. The pick 6 puts Sonora up 16-7. The Pride has to answer back, and Rickard trying to make up for that last pass. This time he finds Devin McDonald for a huge pickup across midfield, and Bradshaw is in business, especially when you get the cameraman to bite on the inside dive fake. Nathan Zeppieri comes out the other side for a 9-yard score to cut the deficit to 2 at 16-14 at the end of the third. In the fourth, more Bradshaw and more Nathan Zeppieri. He gets a little tush-push from Brandon Burden, and the Pride jumps in front 20-16 with 4.5 to play. But Sonora works its final drive masterfully. 4th and inches at the goal line, Eli Ingalls punches in the go-ahead score with 9 seconds left on the clock. The Wildcats win 23-20. Head coach Kurt Clifton lost his brother back in September to cancer. What a way to finish in his honor.
You know, we had Thanksgiving at my house last night, and my parents and my sister-in-law and all their kids were there, and she gave me a hug at the very end, and she said, "You got this because your brother's on your side."
We can't ask for a better coach, and to help him out in a time like that where his family's struggling, it's amazing. God was watching out.
Hey, even though we are dedicating this show to championship football, we still want to show some love to the ladies on the hardwood. We'll ramp up our basketball coverage very soon, but for now, here's our girls basketball big picture top 10 presented by LENIE'S Pictures. Can't get enough high school sports in Sacramento? Well, Premier Preps has got you covered like no one else. You want game highlights? We got you. You want local insight? We got you. You want inspirational feature stories? We've got you. How about exclusive interviews with prominent players and coaches in the area? We got you. Scores, updates, top plays, and much, much more every Sunday at 5 o'clock during the high school season on YouTube. We look back at the week that was and keep you updated on who's got next. So follow along on social media and subscribe on YouTube to Premier Preps with me, Nick Pecoraro, because it's giving Sacramento high school sports the coverage it deserves. The 12 Bridges Raging Rhinos rode a 12-0 record into last year's section championship game before a stunning last-minute one-point loss to Casa Roble left the Rhinos empty-handed. Patterson also suffered a similar one-point fate in last year's D4 finals against Escalon. Which team would be the one to reverse its fortunes? They would find out Friday afternoon in the D4 final. Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. We've got Rhinos and Tigers trying to avenge section finals losses from a year ago. Something had to give between 12 Bridges and Patterson. Here we go. 12 Bridges comes out swinging. Their first drive is capped by a 30-yard score from Braden Ward. And folks, get ready to see a lot of this from this highlight. Rhinos take a 7-0 lead. But Patterson responds on the ensuing drive. QB Max Medina sneaks one in for a 1-yard score, and the Tigers tie things up at 7 apiece. 12 Bridges claps right back as Connor Flaherty connects with Matthew Marquez for a 15-yard score, and the Rhinos jump right back in front 13-7 at the end of one. Second quarter, Rhinos again leading with the horns. Dylan Amos takes a 25-yard score and catch from Connor Flaherty, and 12 Bridges has a 20-7 lead. But they were far from finished. Braden Ward takes in TD number 2 on the day, 27-7. Patterson doing anything it can to try and stop the rage. Tresor Malumba gets in for a sack lunch, but the Rhinos just kept pouring it on like gravy on their Thanksgiving mashed potatoes. Braden Ward with his third tutty of the day. And they were getting it done on defense too. Dylan Amos, the sophomore, making a splash for the Rhinos, who take a 34-7 lead into the break. Third quarter, more Rhinos, more rage, more Braden Ward. 4 touchdowns to go with more than 200 yards on the ground for Ward, and 12 Bridges is starting to taste it. More defense now. Dylan Amos was called up for the playoffs from JV, and he's got 3 interceptions in 3 games. What an impact he's had. And that lets senior Gavin Rappa get in on the fun. He was one of the Rhinos who experienced heartbreak in the finals last year. This year, it's all about 12 Bridges, 55-7 winners. Coach Chris Bean gets the Gatorade bath, and 12 Bridges exercises its demons and brings home its first ever section championship.
God, I've had a chip on my shoulder since last year, losing with the seniors, but God, this is ridiculous. I'm at a loss of words. We really did it. We really won.
We play with love. We love each other. The coaches, the game plan, everything is A+. It's just, there's nothing better. When you play with love, you can't lose. We play for each other, and that's just how it goes.
Time now for our boys basketball big picture top 10 presented by LENIE'S Pictures, your source for custom team and individual banners, festive yard signs, and much more. Visit LENIE'spictures.com to order your memorabilia and book your personalized photo shoots. But for now, let's check out the latest Big Picture Top 10 for boys basketball presented by LENIE'S Pictures.
LENIE'S Pictures is your go-to site for priceless photos and memorabilia. This local family business has captured great action shots for a decade, but there's so much more to offer with a personalized touch for team and individual photos, game day galleries, banners, yard signs, festive mementos for senior nights, team banquets, or even just to cheer your kid on at their games, all 100% custom made by LENIE'S Pictures, any student, any season, any occasion. So make those memories last forever and visit LENIE'Spictures.com and use the promo code NP7 for $7 photo downloads exclusively through Premier Preps. That's LENIE'Spictures.com, your official photography sponsor for Premier Preps.
Our final highlight package of the night brings us to the Division II championship game between Rocklin and Grant. The Thunder and the Pacers met in last year's NorCal championship, with Grant picking up the win and advancing to the state finals. The Pacers, who bumped up to D2 after winning back-to-back titles at the D3 level, are looking for a Section 3-peat, while the Thunder look to defend their title from last year. Rocklin and Grant on Friday night. I think we all thought these two teams would be on a collision course for the section finals. Grant and Rocklin in a NorCal finals rematch, this time for the D2 section crown. Here we go. First quarter, Grant strikes first as Luke Alexander hits tight end Zoe Edwards for a 9-yard score. Buckle your seatbelt, folks. There was way more to come from this game. Rocklin strikes back as Reeve Sloan directs traffic and finds Owen DeSalvo in the end zone for a 19-yarder. Rocklin jumps in front 7-6 at the end of one. Second quarter, Grant takes the Lambo for a spin. Brandon Lambert cruising in for an 11-yard score, and Grant reclaims a 12-7 lead. But the Thunder answers right back as Sloan finds Maverick Collins, who makes a sensational catch to keep the drive alive for this. Sloan to Connor Kostecki, his first touchdown catch this year, and it's in the section finals, and it gives Rocklin a 14-12 lead. But Grant is never rattled. Luke Alexander feeds Brandon Lambert, and the Pacers are back in front 18-14 at the half. Third quarter, Grant on the doorstep again, but Rocklin says, "You shall not pass!" A goal line stand for the Thunder, but Grant marches right back down on its next drive. Alexander to Kobe Shabazz, and it's now a 10-point lead for the Pacers. Rocklin with some magic at the end of the third, though. Reeve Sloan to Maverick Collins all alone downfield. A 71-yard hookup shrinks the gap to a 3-point game heading into the fourth. Told you we had a good one, folks. Rocklin gets a turnover on downs to start the fourth, and on the next Thunder drive, Sloan hits Owen DeSalvo. You don't see him catch it, but you see what he does with it. A 90-yard score, and the Thunder takes a 28-24 lead with 8.5 to go. Final minute now, last chance for the Pacers. Luke Alexander is so poised in the pocket, and why wouldn't you be when you got weapons like Kobe Shabazz, the sophomore, with a beautiful grab to extend the drive for this. Another sophomore making a big play when it matters most. Zoe Edwards, not sure how he makes this catch. Man, I wish I was on the other sideline, though. Grant takes a 30-28 lead with 34 seconds left. All they need is a stop, and they get it. Eric Anderson with the game-sealing INT, and the Grant Pacers go back-to-back-to-back and claim their 10th overall blue banner. What a game.
We practice moments like this in practice. So we always going to come out and execute. And I've never had no moment like this, no game winning, especially in a section championship. My first time ever being in here. So to do something like that, that's crazy.
Let's take a look at the remaining Sac-Joaquin Section championship results in the race for the ring presented by Premier Championship Rings. Hey, you just won a section championship. Well, now it's time to get yourselves fitted for that championship bling. Visit premiergradproducts.com and tell them Premier Prep sent you so you can get hooked up with priceless mementos that will honor your team's journey to a championship. Here we go. Let's check out the race for the ring presented by Premier Championship Rings. We showed you the highlights of the D1 final where Folsom took down Oak Ridge for the third straight year. It's the fourth title in a row for the Bulldogs, who now own 13 blue banners. To D2, you just saw the Grant Pacers complete the section three-peat by taking down Rocklin. The Pacers now try to reach the state finals for the third straight year. In the Division III final, Vanden, the 3 seed, takes down top-seeded Oakdale to win its third section title in the past 4 years. The Vikings won it all at the state level in 2021. What a redemption year it has been for 12 Bridges, who remains unbeaten at 13-0, this time with the program's first ever section title in just its third year of varsity existence. To D5 now, in a battle of the Huskies, Houston continues its perfect season with a win over Sutter, giving the Huskies from the 209 a section three-peat. Houston won a state title just 2 years ago. We showed you the D6 game where Sonora gets back at Bradshaw Christian for bouncing them out of last year's playoffs. It's the program's third blue banner, and the Wildcats now look for state title number 1. And in D7, this game happening at St. Mary's High School in Stockton on Saturday, top-seeded Somerville takes down Stone Ridge Christian to win its first ever section title in program history. What better way to celebrate than with custom bling from Premier Championship Rings? Visit premiergradproducts.com and celebrate like a champion with Premier Championship Rings, the choice of champions. Hey, we still have NorCal and State title games left to play this year, but for now, let's take a look at who we've got in our Premier Preps Top 10 football rankings after the section championship weekend. Infinite Performance Physical Therapy brings you our plays of the week every week here on Premier Preps. Dr. Janae Young works with local student athletes just like yourself all the time, but you don't have to be an athlete. If you're recovering from surgery and you need rehab, or if you're just looking for prevention from further injury, make sure you connect with Infinite Performance Physical Therapy and tell them Premier Prep sent you. Hey, don't forget to send me your plays of the week candidates each week on social media. Just tag me with a short clip, let me know what's going on with the play, and we'll try to get you on the countdown. Enough talk already. Let's get to our Infinite Performance plays of the week. All right, this one sent in by Donald Jackson Jr. at Seek Revenge on IG. Malachi Johnson of Inderkum going headhunting against Rocklin. The big jam and a big win for the Tigers. Shout out to Jason Nahal for sending this video. Imari Count of Will C. Wood, a freshman with a game-winning bucket in overtime. Count it! Wildcats start their season in style. Plenty of worthy plays from this game. Grant sophomore Kobe Shabazz gets his toes down inbounds for a huge play on Grant's winning drive. This catch actually sets up this next one. We've got to go to the game winner in the D2 final on Friday at Hughes Stadium. Zoe Edwards doesn't got next, he's got right now. The sophomore with an unbelievable grab to lift Grant to a Sac-Joaquin Section three-peat. And that is your Infinite Performance Play of the Week. What a weekend it was at Sac City College. Congratulations to all 7 of the Sac-Joaquin Section football champions who are bringing home blue banners. But the job is not finished. We've still got more football coverage over the final 2 weeks of the fall season. NorCal coverage begins this week, and state championships take place 2 weeks from now, and you better believe that Premier Preps will have you covered. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, make sure you subscribe and spread the word every Sunday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. I'm Nick Pecoraro. I will see you next week.